Here come the drums.
Live from the AM950 studios in the Twin Cities and restrained only by FCC regulations, this is Pardon the Dissent. Now here is your host and agitator, Joey Vincent.
Hello, Twin Cities. Joey Vincent here. You are listening to Pardon the Dissent. Welcome to the show. And I would be underselling the show if I said anything less than this is going to be a powerful episode of Pardon the Dissent. This is the show we're doing tonight is what I looked forward to when I came up with the concept of the show and wanted to get it going. We're going to be talking about topics that are very important to me, very important to you if you're a fan of this show.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about some awesome stuff, some awesome dissenting going on right here in the Twin Cities. We're going to be talking about that. I'm going to tease you with that. Let me jump in with the business stuff real fast. Number one, you can tell by my voice, I'm still a little bit sick. I apologize. All the ladies that love to hear my beautiful voice. It's a little raspy right now, recovering from that sinus infection, so I apologize. Don't always sound like this. Today's date, August 24th, the year 2015. Producer of the Pardon the Dissent show, the man behind the bulletproof glass. I'm going to assume it's bulletproof. We've not tested it yet. Tony Williamette.
How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I'm excited tonight, Tony. You know I'm excited, right?
I can feel it.
This is it. I got energy for this show, man. This is the kind of stuff I like.
I like it.
Sponsors, let me mention my wonderful sponsors real fast. Bell Bonds Doctor, our title sponsor here at the Pardon the Dissent show. Thank you guys very much. Natural, pure drinking water, the only drinking water that I drink and that my dog drinks. Mini Haha Recording Company, Stupid Simple Branding, and Scotty and the Don. Those are all our wonderful sponsors. And if you go to pardonthedissent.com, that is our website. If you go there and you click on the sponsor tab on that website, it will take you to all the sponsors' little logos. You just click on them and you visit their website. You find out what they do and their business, and hopefully you do a little bit of business with them, and that makes them happy, and they keep sponsoring the show. That's how it all works. Also, at that website, pardonthedissent.com, you'll find all the podcast listening to options. So if you can't catch every single show, or you want to go back and listen to a show that we've already done because maybe you missed something, you can do that via all the podcast options. And also, you'll find links to our Facebook page and Twitter account and all that good stuff because you want to get connected. We want to get connected with you. Callers. I want callers tonight. When I tell you about the special guest tonight, if you don't already know from the advertisement I've done online, you're going to want to call in. You're going to want to talk to the guest tonight. Some of you are going to want to talk to him because you don't agree with him. Some of you want to talk to him because you agree with what he's doing and the group that he's with, and you want to give some words of support, and we want to hear that too. So call in with that as well too. But definitely, if you don't agree, that's what the show's about. I want you to call in with your complaints and opinions. Please keep them respectful. And remember, no cussing and all that stuff. But we're all about the conversation, so we'll have those conversations with you. So prepare yourself. The phone number is 952-946-6205. Again, that's 952-946-6205. I'll tell you who the special guest is real fast. Special guest is a man who is making a lot of news in the Twin Cities right now, and actually at the end of this week, it may be nationwide even. Rashad Turner. If you don't know that name, Rashad Turner is one of the organizers with the St. Paul chapter of the Black Lives Matter protest movement. And this guy, he was actually on a show earlier today here on AM950. And he's an intelligent dude and a very committed dude to the Black Lives Matter movement. And he's going to be on talking about a protest that they're getting ready to do this week at the Minnesota State Fair. And if you guys aren't, I know we got a lot of listeners nationwide. If you guys aren't familiar with the Minnesota State Fair, it's a huge event, and this is going to make some news. And so he's going to tell us about that. So prepare yourself for that. He'll be coming in the second segment. We're going to try to keep him on as long as possible. We might have him on for 2, maybe 3 segments, so you guys can call in with your conversation or with your questions or whatever and talk with him, and we'll get to know a little bit more about him and the protest and what's going on. So let me finish this segment out first. Let's go over a couple, some headlines and some updates of some stories in the news right now and some stories we've talked about recently. And that'll take us into the second segment, and then we'll talk to Rashad. Starting here with this first headline I want to read to you. I'm not going to get too deep into the story, just kind of let you know what's going on in the world. And where's this source from? This is from Countercurrent News, one of my favorite sources. Here's the headline. Today's show canceled Janelle Monáe when she started talking about police brutality. This is a very apropos story for tonight's show. Janelle, I always have a problem saying her name. Janelle Monáe appeared on NBC's Today Show last Friday morning. Her performance was amazing. Of course it is. She's amazing. She's beautiful. But when she started talking about police brutality, guess what, guys? What'd they do? The station cut her off, right? Because that's what they do. Whenever you start talking about real stuff on the Today Show, they censor you because they don't want you talking about the real stuff because they don't want you to get offended as a listener, and then you may not buy their laundry detergent or whatever crap they're trying to sell you. Very good job, Today Show. Way to be a hack so-called journalism outlet. If you remember last week here on the live show, we talked about Chelsea Manning. Remember that, Tony? Talked about Chelsea Manning.
Yes, we did.
We did, and we found out she was getting ready to go to an in-prison trial because she committed the heinous crime of having expired toothpaste in a magazine with, what's that lady's name?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, thank you. I had forgot Caitlyn Jenner's name. Well, she went to her thing. It worked out as good as it could possibly work out. She went to the disciplinary hearing, and the only charges they gave her were 21 days of recreational restrictions, which is weird that there is any kind of recreation whatsoever when you're inside a prison and you're being held in a prison because you did the horrible crime of telling American citizens that the U.S. military murdered people. So, yeah, there we go. What else do we got here? Oh, you've been keeping up with the Ashley Madison?
Yeah, I have.
Have you been keeping up with that?
Yeah.
We don't normally do those kind of.
It piques my interest,
right? We don't normally do these kind of stories here, but this one has a local Minnesota flair. Headline here. This is from the KSTP. It's a local news station here in the Twin Cities. Headline: 107 Ashley Madison accounts exposed in data dump linked to Minnesota government emails. 107 him. More than 100 accounts from an online website that promotes infidelity were linked to Minnesota state email addresses, according to a cybersecurity expert. Josh Moore analyzed gigabytes of data from Ashley Madison, a website that helps men and women engage in affairs.
I love that this guy went through and combed it all out for Minnesota for us.
I'm sure he was naked when he did it, too.
Repping Minnesota.
Right. Here's a quote from him. This is funny. "This company was built on trust," Moore said. That trust crumbled when more than 36 million Ashley Madison accounts were apparently hacked. Yeah, same kind of trust that the marriages were built on, apparently.
You want to blame somebody? Blame yourself.
Oh, my God. Tony, do you have anything to worry about? Is your email going to pop up?
Good.
You're good?
Yeah.
I stick with Plenty of Fish.
Okay. Christian?
No, that's just the cheap ghetto way to meet.
Yeah. You're an early adopter?
An early adopter, yeah. I can't afford Ashley Madison. Guys, this is Pardon the Dissent. When we get back, we're going to be talking to Rashad Turner from St. Paul chapter of Black Lives Matter. Get ready for an awesome show. Pardon the Dissent.
Hello?
Oh, man, I'm really in a world of hurt now.
Really? How long have you been there?
I don't really know, but I have to be at work tomorrow.
Oh, man, you got to call the doctor.
Really? But it's so late, and doctors make me nervous. Maybe I should just wait here and see if this gets any better.
No, trust me. The Bell Bonds doctor is always the best option, and he's available 24/7. Unlike other bail bondsmen, this guy is extremely trustworthy and professional. He can get you out in no time. give him a call.
One day, even you could find yourself needing the help of a bail bond service. That's why you should know there is a professional, dependable, and affordable option. Bail Bonds Doctor. Before you find yourself in this position, put this number in your phone, 612-332-3030. Available 24/7 at 612-332-3030. Online at bailbondsdoctor.com. The doctor is in when you need to get out.
We want to hear from you, so get connected to Pardon the Dissent. You can find us on Facebook by searching for Pardon the Dissent. Follow us on Twitter at PT Dissent. Email us at pardonthedissent@gmail.com and visit our website, pardonthedissent.com. Pardon the Dissent. Joey Vincent here. AM950 KTNF is the station. Guys, let me tell you real fast about the one of our sponsors here at Pardon the Dissent. Our title sponsor here, Bail Bonds Doctor. Okay, now, if you're like me, maybe you've been to jail a few times, right? You know, for maybe got caught driving without a license, no insurance, maybe. Maybe you got stopped one day in Bloomington and you had weed in your pocket and the cop said, yeah, you're going to come with me. Maybe, you know, just giving some examples. Whatever. Point is, you have to get out of jail. You don't want to sit in jail. It's not a place to be. You can't hang out in jail. You'll lose cool points when you're in jail. So what you need to do is call a bail bondsman, and Bail Bonds Doctor is the one you need to choose. I want you to go to their website, bailbondsdoctor.com. Bailbondsdoctor.com. Check out their website. Get to know them, get to know how they can help you with their bail bond services, learn how the whole industry works, the whole 9 yards, do that. And number two, put their number in your phone so you'll have it in case you need it. 612-332-3030, 612-332-3030. Bail Bonds Doctor, the doctor is in when you need to get out. And one more time, a reminder, we're taking phone calls tonight, 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. All right, let's bring our guest on tonight. Like I said, this gentleman is down for the cause. He is a dissenter like nobody else. He is fighting the power. Please welcome Rashad Turner. Rashad.
Hey, good evening, y'all. Thanks for having me on.
No, the thanks is all to you, man. Thank you for taking the time. It's late in the evening. You've been on multiple radio shows today. You've been out doing the legwork, trying to get your message out and trying to promote it. And we're happy to have you on at this late hour. So thank you, Rashad. Let's start out number one. This is the news. The energy circling you right now is all about a protest getting ready to happen at what is easily probably Minnesota's biggest recreational event, into the summer event, is the Minnesota State Fair, and Black Lives Matter St. Paul is planning a protest there. Why don't you tell us what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and all that?
So that's right, Joey. It's coming up this Saturday, August 29th. We'll meet at Hamlin Park in St. Paul right about 11 o'clock. We will gather there. We're probably expecting about 1,000 or 2,000 people after everything's said and done. But we'll meet there. We'll rally. We'll have a little bit of time to share that space and reflect. And from there, we will head northbound on Snelling, and we plan to end in front of the main gates of the State Fair and just continue to use our voices and spread the message. Like you said, it's been getting a lot of attention, and I think that it's just kind of waking people up, and also not just waking people up to social justice, but waking them up to the real Minnesota. A lot of people have been sending me comments and picture screenshots of different, racist remarks and things like that. So I think it's, already has done a great job in just bringing awareness to what the real Minnesota's like.
Right.
You know, you guys are a part of the DISSENT, so I had no problem staying up late and coming on here with you guys. But as we see, there are a lot of people who are not quite yet aware.
Right.
And some of them, even if they are aware, are choosing to just kind of continue to do things to keep the status quo of white supremacy intact. So we want to try to do everything we can, you know.
Exactly. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one thing. And here's the deal. I grew up in southern Missouri before I moved up here, and I've seen hardcore racism. I know what it is. I know it exists. But when I moved up here, you know, there's definitely a difference than up north as it is down south. But I kind of, you know what, I got a little lax around here. And until recently, until this Black Lives Matter movement, I kind of felt like, hey, you know, it's not really that bad up here. You know, there's probably some racism up here, but not a lot. But I tell you what, since this Black Lives Matter movement has happened, I've seen some horrific stuff, heard horrific things. I was at the Mall of America when the protests went there. I heard the words coming out of people's mouth that just, you know, the most heinous opinions, a total misunderstanding of the whole movement. And it's shown me that it's, while it may be, you know, kept under wraps a little bit better here in the north, it's still pretty hardcore up here as well too.
Oh yeah.
So
you know, one of my good friends, Nakima Levy-Pounds,
brilliant woman,
active in the movement, very intelligent woman. You know, she describes Minnesota, you know, what she likes to say is the Jim Crow North. And I think that's, you know, completely accurate and just hits it right on the money, that you do kind of get a little bit, you know, relaxed, because if you're in the Twin Cities, you know, you see the demographics of that, and I think you find, you know, some peace in knowing that, you know, it's a diverse metro area.
Right. Like even the racism is Minnesota nice, is what it is.
Oh, exactly.
It's passive-aggressive racism.
You know,
not everybody.
I have conversations all the time, you know, where people are, oh, no, you know, you guys are Minnesota nice up there. And I'm like, yeah, you must have just came to visit. You didn't stick around too long to really learn and understand what Minnesota nice is. But I think, you know, like you said, Joey, it shows its face. There's protest. You know, we haven't, and I know I speak very stern, very uncompromising in my tone, and keeping my eyes on the prize.
Good, you shouldn't.
But we haven't once said, you know, anything that we're going to be violent or anything of that nature. So to just receive that response, you know, it's two things. It lets us know that we're doing the right thing, we're heading in the right direction. And it also just, you know, the second thing is uncovering what Minnesota is really like. I mean, I think a lot of people initially were like, whoa, Rashad, why are you doing the fair, you know? And not that I feel that, you know, we need to be the ones educating people, but I understand that there's that element that it is a responsibility to educate. And it's just like, why the fair? You know, I think, you know, we feel that the state fair represents the disparities, economic injustices that are present across the state of Minnesota. A lot of people are getting hung up with, like, well, what is the fair? And it's not just about the fair. So it's about connecting people to that bigger picture,
right?
And understanding that, you know, that American dream that everyone talks about is something that we as, you know, a black community have yet to be able to just kind of wake up and live in that dream.
Right.
You know, we have to be in fear. I mean, I'm pulled over on the side of the road right now, and it's on my mind, like, am I going to get pulled over?
Right.
And it's just something that, you know, unless you're black or unless you're a person of color, you don't have that lived experience. So maybe it's not as easy to understand, but we just ask people to open their hearts. You know, we feel like at the end of the day, yes, there's going to be racist people out there. Yes, there's people who want to keep that status quo going, whether it's for political reasons, for financial reasons, all of those things that are there. But we just feel like the more we stay focused in bringing these oppressions and injustices to an end, I mean, we're going to get to that point, and it's just about being able to use our voices. We don't plan on beating people up or yada, yada.
Right.
It's about, hey, we're going to be peaceful. And to this point, I mean, we're talking about 400 plus years, you know, and it's just like, if nothing's been done for us, we must make it happen.
Right. I love the idea. Like, the things like the highway protests, those get a lot of flack. I've always been highly supportive of that. I love the fact that it's the simple act of inconvenience draws so much attention to a very important issue. And that kind of attaches to why I love the idea of what you guys are getting ready to do at the fair, because the fair is this just what it is. It's the great Minnesota get together. All these people from many different ethnic backgrounds are going to be there, and it's a time for fun. It's a time for enjoyment. Everybody's kind of wrapping up the summer, but you guys are going to bring to them your guys' message. You're going to be talking about a very important issue, an issue that's super hot in the nation right now, and quite honestly, quite frankly, it should have been hot for decades ago, because this is not like it's a new thing. Right.
Exactly.
So I love what you're doing, and as far as some of these complaints that we're hearing, well, it's for the kids. You're interrupting the fun of the kids. Well, you know what? Forget your kids, right? There's people dying in the streets. You guys need to address this issue, and we're bringing it to your face. Rashad, we're getting ready to go to our first break right now. We're going to bring you right back. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the messaging and what you guys are trying to achieve. So you hang tight with me right now. We're going to go to break.
Will do.
All right, and we'll be right back here, guys, on Pardon the Dissent, talking to Rashad Turner from St. Paul's chapter of Black Lives Matter. We'll be right back. Hang tight.
Cultural centers will be fought, supplying the revolutionaries with food and arms when the revolution comes. When the revolution comes, white death will fall off the walls of museums and churches, breaking the line that enslaved our mothers. When the revolution comes, Jesus Christ is going to be standing on the corner of Lenox Avenue and 125th Street, trying to catch the first gypsy cab out of Harlem. When the revolution comes, Jew merchants will give away matzo balls and gefilte fish to anyone they...
Are you a musician or songwriter looking for quality production and recording? Minnehaha Recording Company can help. With over 10 years of experience in recording and production, Minnehaha Recording Company offers recording, mixing, and mastering on any type of project, including full bands, hip-hop artists, and podcast production. For more info, visit minnehaharecording.com or call 612-564-8088.
Pardon the Dissent. AM950, Joey Vincent here. We're taking calls tonight, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. And we're talking to Rashad Turner of Black Lives Matter, St. Paul chapter, about the Black Fair protest at the Minnesota State Fair that's getting ready to happen. Rashad, remind the listeners again, when's the actual date of that and the time, meetup time and location?
Yeah, for sure. And we want everybody, no matter your skin color, your ethnic background, if you believe that the current, systems that are in place are inequitable and you are really down about equality, equal protection under the law, those things, come out and join us. It's Saturday, August 29th, 11 a.m., Hamlin Park in St. Paul. It's right off of Snelling and Thomas. You can catch the light rail down. We'll leave that running until you get there. You can catch the light rail or Google it. Do whatever you need to do. Be there with us. Join us. Be there. Stand in solidarity with us as we peacefully protest and try to bring an end to the injustices that plague our community.
Right. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about messaging, because this is a point of confusion with a lot of people who the name callers or the people who, well, don't all lives matter? Those people. Why don't you help me out? Help me explain to some of those guys or gals who might be listening right now, what does Black Lives Matter mean? What's the mission? What's the message?
And here's the thing, Joey. There's a lot of people who want to put the Black Lives Matter movement in a box. They want to tell us that our focus should be only on police brutality, and that's the thing, that we are quite capable, very, very capable of, managing our messaging, our intent, our protesting, and basing that around the big picture. You know, economic injustice is the beginning of all of the stuff that we see on the streets. You know, if our kids can have hope, then there's a lot of these problems that we're seeing. I mean, obviously there's institutional things that need to be changed. But if our kids can have hope, which means that their parents are employed and not underemployed or making, you know, twice less than, you know, the cost of living or working 3 jobs, those are the things that are also a part of the big picture. So when you look at St. Paul, I mean, it has some of the most racially isolated areas of poverty. When you look at Ramsey County as a whole, and I don't even know if I should be talking about this study, but there's a study that's going to be coming out soon that talks about concentrated poverty. Okay. And when you look at Ramsey County is 40% below the national threshold. And I mean, anybody who understands that, I think the national threshold for poverty for a family of 3 or 4 is like $14,000. Wow. Right? So even that level of poverty is like, what in the heck can you do making $14,000 a year, feeding yourself, feeding your kids, and just trying to maintain a life? I mean, there's not much there. So when you think about economic injustices, when you think about the fact that the unemployment rate for African Americans is about 3 times that of white people, those are issues that need to be fixed. I mean, if we can be employed, if we can have those opportunities, it just gives us the hope and pretty much changes our outlook from birth. I mean, from the time we're brought into this world as black people, we're socialized pretty much to think that, hey, everything is okay. This is the way it needs to be. And what that causes is some people in the black community to really sort of focus on themselves and are their bills paid and things like that. But, I mean, here it is, 11:30 at night, and we're still fighting for justice. I mean, Black Lives Matter St. Paul, we had a meeting earlier. So just for people to understand, it's not about, we're not going to be boxed in to just focus on social justice.
Right.
Because, like I said, the beginning of that is economic injustices that cause those social injustices.
Right.
So it's really getting people to educate themselves. I mean, it takes the time to really, and not too much time.
Right.
You spend a few minutes really studying U.S. history, and then things just start to make sense for you.
Exactly.
But it's like we understand.
If you study the right history, the unedited.
Exactly.
The right
real.
history.
You know, I always like to say that, you know, white American education as we receive it in high school and elementary, I mean, that's pretty much genocide.
Right.
I mean, it's telling us a bunch of lies that make us pretty much hate each other at the end of the day.
Right.
So it's really about getting people to understand that even as a poor white person, right, to remove color from this for a second, as a poor white person, you are affected by this system, right?
That was
the 99.
That was something I wanted to add on to it. There is like a lot of the people, and this is from personal experience growing up in southern Missouri, that a lot of the more racist people are low income white people, and that's either by design or by happenstance, whatever. A lot of times that's kind of like their some of the core reasons behind their racism, because they know they're in a suck position in life. You know, they're poor, they're struggling, but at least they have this other racial group to look down on to give them some kind of feeling of being better or whatever. Well, here's what you guys need to do. If that's you, if you're that racist white person, and that's what you're using your racism for, is to make yourself feel better, what you need to do is the complete opposite. You need to be teaming up with groups like Black Lives Matter. You need to combine your forces, shed your ignorance, and start fighting for the equality that they want, because it's your fight too, right?
Exactly. And that's the thing. You know, right-wing media and that mainstream stuff, they want us to be divided. I mean, if the listeners could just pause for 1 second and think about, we're all a part of that 99%.
Yes.
You know, so at the end of the day, you know, we're at the bottom of that hill when the stuff is falling. We're the ones it's falling on.
Right.
And it's just like, you are absolutely right, Joey, that for some of those racist people, it seems easy for them to hang their hat on, like, well, hey, you know, you guys are at the bottom of the totem pole.
Right.
But it's just like we're all a part of that 99%. I mean, this country what was founded on the backs of African Americans. But it's nothing we hear about in the history books about all of the inventions or all of the things that, we did to really turn this country into what it was. I mean, when you go back even before slavery and you look at the fact that the Native Americans had this land stolen from them. I mean, they were killed and the land was taken. I mean, that's something that should disturb anyone who is choosing to ignore that.
Right.
So
continuing still, we just did a story last week talking about was that in Arizona, Tony, where the Navajo ran off John McCain, which was beautiful, right? And they're still taking and polluting and ruining, important land to Native Americans. What you're talking about, the things that happen to Black Americans in this country, things that happen to Native Americans in this country, is still happening, right? When we look at it, you just got to look at the modern versions of it. When you look at gentrification, that's the same thing.
Exactly.
It's pulling people out of the place, disrupting families, breaking apart connections with your neighbors and with your people, moving people, shifting people around. Same thing with education. Where we all pay for the education, but based on where you live, it determines the value and the quality of the education you get. That's another form of genocide. It's a mental. It's an education genocide. If you destroy the education, you destroy the companionships, the friendships, and all those things. No one can grow because those are all things that you use when you're in a nice place, where's Maple Grove or some nice place here in the Twin Cities. It's those friendships, those connections, that education. Those are all the tools that you use to lift yourself up, to move, to do better. And they're still destroying us.
And that's the thing, is getting people to understand, what.
And Rashad, let me hold that thought for me. We're 40 seconds on the end of the segment. I'm going to bring you right back to, and you just hold that thought. We'll jump right back into that. Okay, I apologize.
Cool.
We're going to knock out another commercial break here, guys. You're listening to Part of Dissent. We're talking to Rashad Turner, St. Paul chapter of Black Lives Matter. Hang tight. We're still talking to him. We'll be right back. Sanchez will get your call next.
Tales from the dark side, evidence of the settlements on my hard drive. Man, I swear my heart died at the end of that car ride. When I saw that checkpoint, welcome to apartheid. Soldiers wear military green at the checkpoint. Automatic guns, that's machine at the checkpoint. Tables not M16s at the checkpoint. Fingers on the trigger, you'll get leaned at the checkpoint. Little children going adults and teens at the checkpoint.
You support local businesses, so it's time you get to know the locally owned, natural, pure drinking water. They're a family business that's been providing water for the Twin Cities since 1986. Their water is purified using reverse osmosis, effectively removing chemicals such as salt, magnesium, iron, fluoride, lead, and calcium, as well as bacteria. Their water is also treated with ultraviolet light to protect against all airborne bacteria. Natural, pure drinking water carries a variety of BPA-free bottles. Their bottles include 5 gallons, 3 gallons, 2 gallons, and 1 gallon. Servicing their machines every 30 days. This means you have plenty of options when you're providing water for your home or office. Using natural, pure drinking water makes excellent coffee, tea, and ice cubes, and you can find their water at many local retailers. They're online at naturalpuredrinkingwater.com, and be sure to check out their Facebook page. Ask for natural, pure drinking water at your local grocery store and select co-ops.
If you want to listen to Pardon the Dissent, but don't always have time to catch us live, each show is available as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can also live stream Pardon the Dissent and listen to us no matter where you're at. Just go to pardonthedissent.com and follow the live streaming instructions.
Real jailers for suckers. I go to country club prison, you dumb motherfuckers. I am the 1%. Yeah, you know my CEO corporate steez. Please overthrow governments overseas in a breeze. Politicians in my pockets for a few hundred G's. So if
Pardon the Dissent, AM950. Real fast, guys, I want to tell you about another one of our sponsors here at Pardon the Dissent. Pardon the Dissent is sponsored in part by Minnehaha Recording Company. And Minnehaha Recording Company is owned and operated by Pardon the Dissent's very own Tony Williamette. With 10 years of experience in the recording industry, Tony is equipped and prepared to help you with whatever recording project you might have. I want you to go to his website, minnehaharecording.com, minnehaharecording.com. Listen to some examples of some of the past work that he's done. Look at some pictures of his beautiful studio that you could be recording in. And after you've done that, give him a call, 612-564-8088. Again, 612-564-8088, Minnehaha Recording Company. We are talking with Rashad Turner, organizer with the St. Paul chapter of Black Lives Matter. Rashad, are you still there for me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for hanging out. Can you finish your thought? I hope you didn't forget. I kind of cut you off there abruptly. But can you finish your thought you had?
I was telling myself I was going to tell you I was going to text you and tell you to not even bring that up because I forgot what I was going to say.
No worries. It's happened like that. I caught you at a bad time, but we can jump to some other things. Number one? Let's do we got a caller real fast. Let's do the caller first. Tony, is Sanchez from California? Are you there, buddy?
Yeah. Thanks for taking the call, Tony. Good evening to you, Brother Rashad. As a Latino Apache ally of our local Black Lives Matter chapter here in Long Beach, California, I send you greetings and solidarity, brother man, and wish you good luck with your upcoming demonstration.
Appreciate it.
I have a question here. It's regarding, I guess, the national profile of Black Lives Matter at this point. Individual chapters are ringing in on this particular subject, so I'm curious how the St. Paul chapter feels about endorsing national candidates, in particular presidential candidates. Have you been approached? Has your group been discussing it? How do you guys feel about that?
Good question.
And thanks for the question, Sanchez, and thanks for calling in. So I was out in Cali not too long ago, so I'm glad we got Cali in the house. Appreciate that. As far as these national candidates, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things that they've had a lot of time to where if it was really in their heart to make the changes necessary that will, bring the injustices to an end, they'd already been on that. Whether it's a Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton or, Ben Carson on the Republican side. So, I mean, we really look at politics as something that we need real people who represent the community, who understand the community, to be in elected positions. So myself, I'm running for St. Paul School Board.
Nice.
One of our other organizers, Trey Hearn Cruz, he's running for City Council in St. Paul. So we really have an approach that is, if we do it ourselves, that's the only way we're going to make it happen. These Bernie Sanders and Hillary, they want to be reactive. No different than the State Fair reacting, saying they're, whatever excuses they have. So that reactionary isn't really something that, we as a group really feed into. We want to see action. It's been over 400 years of the same thing. I mean, even you as a Latino brother, the climate in the country for every person of color is just as bad as it's ever been. So politically, we want to see action. We don't care if, Bernie's saying, Black Lives, because we don't feel it's genuine. So until it's genuine, and the only way we know it's genuine is from their actions, we don't plan to endorse any candidates. I mean, this has been years. So it's just kind of like, if they really want our vote, they have to earn it. And I think that's what they're seeing nationally, right, with their, speeches being interrupted and things of that nature. And I applaud, anyone who is willing to challenge the status quo, because it affects us all.
Right.
When you think about California, Sanchez, you guys are damn near, running out of water out there.
Right.
And that's just something that when you think about,
I think we just lost
us
Sanchez.
Did we lose him?
Yeah. That's okay. He can still hear you, though.
Yeah, he's listening.
No, yeah. And when you think about, the economic injustice it is to think that here in America, as great as, our government touts itself to be, that one of our states is running out of water. You look at, the city of Detroit, and just keeping on a national level, I was out there a couple of months ago, and when we were talking gentrification earlier, Joey, Detroit is what popped into my head.
Right.
I mean, I'm driving down blocks and just seeing whole neighborhoods with houses pretty much gutted. So it's just like the climate for people of color all across this country is terrible.
Right.
And it's something that the more we come together, and the more we ignore the right wing and mainstream media, and we work together, that's when change is really going to occur. Because what's bad for the black community is bad for the Latino community, is bad for the Native community, the Asian community, Somali community, everyone that's supposed to be here enjoying this free country.
Right.
It doesn't seem like we're getting that same, dream and those same opportunities.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. We only got about a little over 4.5 minutes left. I still want to touch on our mutual friend here before we leave. I want to give him a little free promotion, so to speak. But before we get to that, though, one more time, can you tell all the listeners where they can get in touch with you, be it Twitter, be it Facebook, be it websites, and remind them again of the date of the protest and where they meet at?
For sure. Starting with the protest, it's going to be Saturday, August 29th, 11 a.m. at Hamlin Park. It's located in St. Paul. It's right off of Snelling Avenue and Thomas Avenue. Again, we will leave the light rail open for you. You'll be able to take the light rail and join us. Not too far from 94 and Snelling, so just come out and join us, right? If you want to connect, I've had enough, death threats and stuff like that, so, don't send me that crap. But if you want to connect, if you have questions, you can reach us at Black Lives Matter St. Paul on Facebook, Black Lives Matter St. Paul on Twitter. If you want to reach out to me, more directly on Twitter, it's at Rashad's Republic. And on Facebook, Rashad Anthony Turner. I'm always, and everybody from Black Lives Matter, we're always looking to collaborate. We're always looking to, build that support. So feel free to reach out. Obviously we can't get to every message or every post or whatever, but we do our best. I do my best to try to really answer people's questions who are really maybe on the fence, and they know that, hey, a black person dying every 28 hours is ridiculous and it needs to stop. But maybe they don't quite know where they fit into the movement. Right. I want people to understand that it doesn't matter what color you are, how you identify with your gender, what community you're part of. We want everyone who is ready for these injustices to be brought to an end to come out and join us. And there are many different ways to be a part of the movement. Some people don't, we have people with disabilities who can't come and march with us. Pray for us, right? Use your voice in other ways. Connect with your friends. Do what you got to do to let people know, Black Lives Matter and the status quo and white supremacy is going to die pretty soon. Good.
And on that note, let me end these last couple of minutes here. Number one, thank you for coming on, Rashad, and making time for us. And we definitely want to talk to you.
Joey.
We want to talk to you again for future events and so forth. But speaking about some of those ugly parts of this, I just want to send a special message out to somebody who literally attacked publicly both Black Lives Matter and eventually ended up attacking me when I left a nasty review on his company's website. And for legal disclaimer purposes, somebody, we don't know for sure if it was him, but somebody with a Facebook profile and a picture of John Berkey of Berkey Motors here in the greater Twin Cities area left what are clearly racist comments directed towards Black Lives Matter, and the protest is getting ready to happen. I'll read you one here. Please come and protest my business. My partner is black, so you would look, as misspelling, look like a real big idiot than you already do. The only reason Black Lives Matter want to protest at the fair is because the booths don't accept EBT guards. Now, let me remind you again, this person on Facebook, we don't know if it's for sure him, but he is using the profile picture of and claiming to be the John Berkey, who is the CEO and manager of Berkey Motors and automobile leasing. And when he made these posts, and there's many, many of them up there, and they're on the PTD Facebook page, his business page was attacked with many bad reviews. And like magic, the Berkey Motors Facebook page got pulled down. So apparently somebody there didn't like what was going on. But for legal purposes, we don't know if that's for sure him or not. But somebody claiming to be John Berkey of Berkey Motors here in the Twin Cities is a racist butthead. But yeah.
And I think he's actually located down in man, Cato.
Oh, really?
So if we can, and I'm going to spend 1 minute on John Berkey because
we got 20 seconds left, man.
20 seconds, okay.
Post it on the go to the part of the Dissent Facebook page. You make a post there, and then I'll make sure everybody gets a chance to see it, man.
And I'll share that. Share that. Perfect.
Right on. Thanks for taking the time, man. We'll have you back on soon.
For sure, man. Thanks, Joey.
All right, man.
Good
Peace.
night, listeners. Peace.
The term foodie can sometimes come across as a tickle pretentious. BT and Lydia are here to demystify the term and reclaim it for the sake of good food. Their weekly podcast brings in fellow foodies and culture creators from the Twin Cities to talk about all things food. Find this duo only on the Alive and Social Network.
This is a public service announcement with guitar.
Pardon the Dissent. Came back just in time to say goodbye to all you wonderful listeners.
I'm going to let the clash roll, but
yeah, let it roll. Let it go, man. Again, big thank you to Rashad Turner, organizer with St. Paul chapter of Black Lives Matter. Thank you again for making time. I support you. I support what you're doing. I'm glad you're doing it. And also, I got to give another shout out to somebody who could be somebody else just claiming to be John Berkey, but it's somebody with the name John Berkey on Facebook. And he claims to be the CEO and general manager of Berkey Motors Automobile Leasing. And he is racist. And he is not going to have very many black customers anymore. I don't know what his new business model will be. Come on down, buy a car from a racist. I'm so racist, I even put white tires on the car. Tires aren't even black here. Berkey Motors Automobile Leasing. Yeah, whatever. Thank you guys for listening to Pardon the Dissent. Don't forget, we're going to release a podcast episode later on this week, direct-to-podcast episode, and we're going to be back here next Monday night, 11 p.m., dissenting and stuff, talking about whatever. But until then, keep seeking the truth.
Hang myself